Hello, my name is Joey. This is the Utopian Baseball Universe report for Thursday, June 10th. If I look distracted to start the show tonight, it's because I'm trying to think of the name of that thingamabob that what's the name of that thing? I don't know. It'll come to me. If you're watching and you know what I'm talking about, let me know what I'm thinking of. Thingamabob. Thingamabob. All right. I was challenged to say that last night in the show, and I didn't do it. So I'm saying it 3 times in the first 40 seconds tonight because, auditors and such, we don't need to get shut down. So anyway, we had 10 games in the Utopian Baseball Universe today. Let's get to them. Let's start out east, where the New York Metropolitans... yeah, that's right. I got a little pin here because I'm a fan. I got a bunch of stuff. I mean, my whole desk is Mets stuff, Brewers stuff. The Mets swept the Orioles, winning 3-2 today. This game looked a lot like yesterday's. Edgardo Alfonso, go-ahead RBI single in the 8th. If you remember yesterday, Jose Reyes had an RBI double in the 8th yesterday to give the Mets the lead. Frank Grant for the Orioles had 2 hits and a run scored. Mike Piazza hit his 7th homer for the Mets. Dellin Betances wins his first game in the Utopian Baseball Universe as the Mets sweep the O's. The Nationals beat the Yankees tonight 6-5. Nationals scored 4 runs in the 8th. A rare blown save for Mariano Rivera. Inherited a 2-run lead, blew it, gave up 3 runs. Lou Gehrig and Willie Randolph did homer for the Yankees, but the Nationals beat the Yankees tonight 6-5 at Yankee Stadium. Earlier today, you saw on the Utopian Baseball Universe network, the Reds beat the Brewers 7-2. Reds put up 5 in the 9th. Brewers actually led this game 2-0 through 4. Teddy Aguirre had a 2-run single in this game. Eric Davis homered to make it 2-1. Johnny Bench had an RBI double in the 6th. And then in the 9th, Joe Morgan had an infield hit that gave the Reds the lead. And the very next batter, Joey Votto, hit a grand slam that put this one out of reach. Johnny Cueto went the distance. 2 earned, 4 strikeouts. He's 6-2. Dan Plesac, the loser, he's 0-3. Reds sweep the Brewers today at Miller Park. The Twins beat the Indians 3-2, ending their 7-game winning streak. Miguel Sano with a walk-off RBI single in the 9th. Jim Cott, brilliant in relief, 4 innings, 1 hit allowed, struck out 6. As the Twins take Game 3 against the Indians. In the South Division, we had a pair of doubleheaders. We'll talk about the Royals and Bulls first. In Game 1 of their doubleheader, the Bulls win it 6-2. Jim Bunning, complete Game 5 hitter, 5 strikeouts. Richie Allen, home run and 3 RBIs. He had 2 hits today. J.D. Martinez had 3 hits for the Bulls, including 2 doubles and 2 runs scored. The Royals would end the nightcap, though. They would win it 3-1. Brett Saberhagen scattering 11 hits in going the distance. In a losing effort, Dwight Evans had 4 hits, including a triple, and he scored the only run for the Bulls. 3 hits for Gio Urshela for the Bulls. The Bulls actually out-hit the Royals tonight 11-5, but fall 3-1. And in Atlanta, the Braves get a sweep, 4-1 in the first game. The Braves scoring 4 runs in the 8th, including 2 homers from Eddie Matthews and Joe Adcock. Phil Niekro improves to 8-2 on the year. John Tudor takes the loss. He's 2-5. Albert Pujols hit his 9th homer for the Cardinals. And then, as you saw on Xbox later in the afternoon, the Braves took Game 2 8-1. Out hitting the Cardinals in this one 15-3. Andruw Jones had 4 hits, including a double and a homer. John Smoltz, 3 scoreless in relief. He allowed 1 hit. Rogers Hornsby, a solo homer for the Cardinals. That was the only run for the Cardinals in this game, as the Braves get the sweep over the Cardinals. And we had 2 games out west. In our ESPN Thursday afternoon game, the Angels beat the Giants 3-2. The Giants suffered a major setback in this game. Christy Mathewson exits after 1 2/3. I'm being told he's going to miss the remainder of the first half of the season. Now, we're actually pretty close to the All-Star break, but it's looking like he's going to miss 2, possibly 3 starts. John Montefusco pitched in relief. He actually pitched pretty well, but he took the loss his first of the year. Montefusco is going to start for Mathewson the next time out. Giants are hurting right now. They're still in first place in the West, but they're going to be without Mathewson. Madison Bumgarner was pulled from the rotation after his, I think he's 0-8 start. So the top of the rotation right now for the Giants is John Montefusco, Tim Lincecum, and they started the year with Christy Mathewson and Madison Bumgarner. So we'll see what happens as we wind down the first half of the season and head into the second half, if they can rebound. But not looking good for the Giants right now. In Oakland, the A's shut out the Dodgers 4-0. Eddie Plank, complete game 5-hit shutout, earning his first win of the year. He struck out 6. Vern Campaneris had a big series. He homered yesterday, had 3 RBIs today, as Eddie Plank beat Sandy Koufax 4-0. I want to thank Will Button for appearing on the show earlier tonight from Mets Extremist. If you haven't joined that group yet and you're a Mets fan, you need to. I actually learned something tonight that I wasn't aware of. Those contests that they run daily. So they have Beat the Streak, where you just basically choose a hitter that's going to get a base hit. The K Corner, which you're basically guessing how many strikeouts the starting pitcher is going to get. And then they have the where you predict basically the score, runs and hits for each team. And then for each new series, you guess how many games the Mets are going to take within that series. Will shared on the show tonight that the admins basically put their own money into the prizes at the end of the year. So join. I mean, who knows? You might win some money this year, but if you join now, you'll be all set for next year. You can start on day 1. I don't think I was in on day 1 on the games. I think I joined the group in mid-April, I want to say. But I'm, top 3rd in the standings, so I've got a shot. So you got to join it. It is a positive group, so, which I love. We don't talk about the manager needs to get fired every time they lose a game by 1, or this player sucks, or this sucks. It's a positive group. We try to respect that. I try to kind of enforce those values within my own group. I don't stand for any bullying. I don't stand for any name calling. You call someone stupid, 1 strike and you're out on stuff like that. We can disagree with kindness. We can disagree in a civil manner. But again, if you're a Mets fan, please consider joining Mets Extremists with Will Button and Trisha O'Reilly. It really is my favorite Mets group on Facebook. We have a big weekend coming up starting tomorrow. I'm going to go live early, probably between 9 and 10 tomorrow, to preview the weekend. Now that I have a phone in place and I don't have to use StreamYard for those broadcasts, so I can pretty much do unlimited hours on Facebook Live, we're going to do daily games, daily streams. There might be some days we do 2. There may be some days we don't do any, but if you take into account the number of days in a month and the number of games I'm going to present, we should be averaging at least 1 a day for the rest of the year. And then when the playoffs start, I'm not sure if every single playoff game will be simulated on Xbox, but I think that's what we did last year. So I'm thinking we're probably going to do that this year. And I was probably winning, as an estimate, 60% of the games last year that I played. So the team I was representing won about 60% of the games. This year, it's like 45% because it's harder. It's a different game. The controls are different. So I know a lot of people accused me last year of like, oh, he's just going to simulate a bunch of Mets games and get the Mets a bunch of wins. The Mets were actually 3-5 in Mets games that I simulated last year. I think the Brewers were like 2-4. So in Mets and Brewers games, I was like 5-9. And then when it was just two random teams, I was winning more of those games. But by no means, is that happening. And actually, I'm going to try to even it out. I know we did a Mets game Wednesday, a Brewers game today. I lost that Brewers game today, 7-2. So we're going to even it out. Tomorrow, I'll announce the games for the weekend. We're going to do a late Friday night game. We're going to do a Saturday early evening game, and then we're going to do a Sunday afternoon game. So I'm excited to present those to you. Well, like I said, we'll go live tomorrow about 9 or 10. We'll get you the previews for the weekend. I'm using a really old Mac, and I had the preview all written for the weekend, and then it crashed, and none of it saved. So it's going to take me another 40 minutes to write this up. I'm going to exit out of everything. So if you're trying to contact me, I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to do it on my phone because I had every pitching matchup, every, just it was all there and it's all gone. So thanks for watching tonight. Again, thanks to Will Button for appearing earlier. My plan is to do 1 or 2 of those a week where I just bring on an admin from another group and give them the floor. And they were actually nice enough to allow me to post live on their page tonight. And we've actually welcomed 4 new members since that happened. So I'll formally welcome you guys tomorrow morning, the folks that have joined from Mets Extremist tonight, as we get closer and closer to 1,000 members. Didn't see that coming when the season started. Again, I know you've heard this a million times. We had 83 members at the end of January. We had 61 members at the end of last year. So we grew it by 22 members in the off season. And then February 1st, it just blew up. Thanks largely in part to Rick Lenenberg, who probably brought in a good 200 people. I actually remember him and I had a conversation mid-February, and I'm like, Rick, my goal was to double the group size, get from 80 to maybe 170. I said, we might hit 200 by the end of February. And by the end of February, we had 510. And then by the end of March, when our season started, we had just under 800. And now we're at like 940. Because I haven't really been networking proactively during the season. I want to make sure that the content is good, but bringing admins on for other groups that I enjoy, highlighting their groups, and then them allowing me to appear within their groups, I think is effective. So thank you again to Will and Trisha, and we'll see you tomorrow, about 12 hours from now, we'll say. For a preview of the weekend, and then tomorrow night, a later Utopian Baseball Universe report, and then we're going to do a West Coast game tomorrow night for our West Coast fans. So everyone have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.